This is not your normal discussion where we talk all about the hard topics uncensored and not your normal discussion. This is not your normal discussion.
Hi, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Not Your Normal Discussion. I am your host, Queen Pedii.
I am Nina.
And I'm Tryst. And
All right.
So our first topic is going to be the Virginia Beach schools and how a lot of teachers are feeling burnt out. So what they're doing to try to help with that is give half days on Wednesdays.
yeah,
Um, what I don't, so last year when COVID hit and they were trying to bring students back, what they did was half days, or not half days, but 4 days school. So it gives that Monday for a teacher to plan things and give them kind of like a semi break. And it also gave the kids time to catch up with whatever work they're missing or ask any questions to the teacher. So it, for me, that worked a lot better than what's going on right now. I didn't even know the teacher felt so burnt out like that. But a lot of I was talking to one parent and she said the reason why they're doing half a days is because some of the dumbass parents want their kids in school every single day instead of, giving that teacher that whole day. And I don't know if it happened around the country, if you guys, I know that Virginia Beach is the first school in the country to give the teachers a break like that. But I think it'd be better if they just went to school Tuesday through Friday and the teacher could give like a little project or some, that Monday could be like the one-on-one if a student really needs that help or just to help catch up with work. Because like this week, my daughter wasn't feeling good on Monday, so I didn't let her go to school. Her stomach was turning. So on Tuesday, election day, there's no school. So what I did was I told her, I said, hey, you're missing a lot of schoolwork from not just yesterday, but from, a couple of days. Go sit down and go work on it. If you got any questions, ask me. And I kept going, hey, did you do your work? Ask the teacher what you can do to, replace the missing work. And she's like, oh, I'm email my teacher. They're telling me this and this. And so it gave that time for the teachers to, be able to respond to their students, have that one-on-one kind of, and gave the student, kind of a break from being in school.
Yeah. Oh, before we continue, I do want to explain the missing square. Suge is out sick today and he will be back next week. So don't worry, he will be back. Sorry, because I know people are probably like, what is going on? Okay. But yeah, I totally agree. The teachers, they need a break. And I don't know if the kids are as rambunctious as they are in Maryland and DC, but I do know that these kids can try you, and it takes a lot of discipline to not even smack one of them.
It's not even the fact that is about the students or anything. It's the fact that we're losing a lot of teachers. Do you know if they were close to retirement or they could retire? COVID hit, they retired, like flat out retired.
Yeah.
So we're missing, and like for buses are they're working so hard. These bus drivers, they have lost over. This is before school even started. They lost over 110 bus drivers.
I mean, I know that they're going on strike right now, so
because they're not getting paid as much. Yeah. They're the one that is right there. The kids get on. There is no 6 feet to even try to, hey, stay away. It's hard. And it's hard to find coverage. So if you do get sick or you do get COVID, and even before, some of these kids are god awful because they're like, it's just a bus driver. What they gonna do? Call my mom? Versus, oh, I'm at school. What they gonna do? Suspend me? Which is a lot, worse.
Mhm.
And like I did, one of my friends, she's a bus driver, and she had a kid that took their pencil and stabbed the back of the bus. Do you know how much that cost?
Too much.
Over $400. So that parent is paid $400. You know why? Because, and I don't know where else they do this, but at Virginia Beach, all the bus drivers have to have seating charts, and that's how they caught that girl because of the cheating. They're like, oh nope, right here. She sits right here, and right there in front of her is where she stabbed.
Kind of
You know, before you have to, try to go through the video and try to, catch them doing it, and the seats are so high.
Yeah.
So, but now it's like, nope, gotta go.
Okay. Tryst, you have anything to add?
A bunch. I was gonna say. I mean, when we're in a situation where, unlike any other country, pretty much, we fund our schools based on property taxes. We're in situations that while kids from wealthy areas, wealthy suburban areas, where it's largely white kids, they're gonna have great, beautiful learning facilities, while kids from inner cities, black kids, Hispanic kids, indigenous kids, they're facing instead crumbling schools, overworked teachers, less social workers and nurses in their schools and everything like that. So you're gonna have a situation where not only are teachers gonna face burnout, but they're going to be so burnt out and so overworked and having to cover so many different areas, especially after the pandemic and a year of trying to figure out how to take care of kids in class and also over Zoom, that end up with either needing to strike to make up for the things that they're covering out of their own pocket, or at the end of the day, those teachers are going to be so burned out that any passion to like change the minds and lives of kids, because I mean, at the end of the day, they're taking kids from whatever situation they got going on, whatever stress is going on, especially if we're talking about inner city of poverty. There's already kids who probably on some degree either malnourished, dealing with emotional issues at home.
You're going in and out.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. All kinds of stuff could be happening going on at home. And so teachers are more likely to push kids down that school to prison pipeline with
Yeah.
detentions, suspensions, expulsions, especially when schools are holding the teachers, not the teachers, holding the students and their families responsible for anything that goes on. Whether it's school lunch and kids going in depth over what they can actually eat during the day at school, or yes, it's better that like they can hold a kid responsible if he's the one who, if she's the one who punches out the back of a seat on the school bus. But it is also kind of wild that these are just things covered by the government. Like if that kid's family is poor, I don't know if they have an extra $400 to shell out for their kid doing something stupid at school, on top of having to pay for their school lunch or whatever else they got to pay for school lunch.
School lunch is free right now for the whole city. But my thing is, if you can't, if you can't tell your child how to behave, because this is middle school, it wasn't no elementary student. And in elementary, I'm like, but middle, you should know.
I mean, kids know, but remember that whole situation with the devious licks? That kid like from trash cans to hand sanitizers, the entire toilet paper.
But how would you feel if you know that your tax money that you work so hard for is going to fix a bus seat because somebody couldn't control or tell or explain to the kids that it's wrong to do that?
Well, I mean, one, I should preface I'm not a parent, but two, I mean, I'm much more concerned with my tax dollars going to like prisons, going to billionaires and their tax deductions. I'm more concerned with going to all types of wasteful shit.
See, I'd rather have my tax money going to the teachers instead of paying for a school bus seat because somebody was being an idiot.
That, but like for example, for a lot of like especially after Obama, first we had with George W. Bush with the No Child Left Behind and all the standardization, all that. But under Obama, we had where people could get vouchers to send their kids off to like private schools or charter schools, and so money would be leaving the public schools to be sent over to these other schools. So our tax dollars are already leaving the public school system in the first place anyway. And this other system where you have parents basically picking up the slack, what the only thing that they're going to do, especially since kids look to school to be their distraction from home and whatever's going on at home, which is why kids get together, they play, they do all kinds of stuff. Like the only thing that the parents are going to do is like what, smack the kid up a little bit for, like you cost me $400. Yeah, I don't have $400 to be shelling out to school for you. Like, what else is a parent going to do? So that's a whole nother cycle that like parents are not gonna sit there and be like, I understand, honey. I understand, Shauna, that you're a little frustrated, so you start like.
Nope. I'd be like, you making me have to use my child credit to pay for that bus. Guess what? You're gonna be missing Christmas, or what you're gonna be not doing for summer break, or what kind of jobs you're gonna be doing. Like, go cut the grass, go rake some lawns. You're gonna help earn back some of this money.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that, it really starts from home, because a lot of these teachers, they were already burnt out before COVID. The kids were bad. They weren't listening, and they were overcrowding the kids, Like, I know my mom, she used to actually work in DC public schools, and they had like a bunch of kids just crammed in, and it's one teacher. And I think it's supposed to be like maybe 10 to 1 teacher or something like that. But I think
it's either 10 or 12.
Yeah, 10 to 12.
But down here we had like 38 students in one class, and I'm like, how are they supposed to breathe?
They're not. They can't. And that's why they get so distracted, because there's so much going on with so many different personalities sitting around them when they're only used to having just 10 or 12. And it starts from home. If you are not teaching your child how to be a decent human being, like if you have your child looking at, what's it called, Power and loving hip hop and stuff like that, they're going to go to school and think that that's how life is supposed to be, and it's not. You're supposed to sit your butt down in the school, act like you have some sense, and do your damn work. Like all this, I want to twerk and slap in at a teacher month or whatever that crap was last month. Like, the girl went to jail. I can see why they're burning out. I would have burnt out in a week. I'm sorry. And I used to work with kids. I know.
Shoot, I was burnt out. I had to get my kids at home with me. I'm like,
kids, so but I just don't want it just starts from home. Stop letting your kids watch these grown-up ass shows and let them be children. Like, I don't know. I've never seen Coco Melon, so I don't want to say Coco Melon.
My son loves Coco Melon.
Is it cute?
He go, Coco. It has like all the nursery rhymes in it, and it has different, and they even have like Baby Shark and The Wheels on a Bus. So that's how he learned a lot of his like singing and stuff from them. And then he likes that. He likes PJ Masks, like Bubble Guppies. Come on, they teach math and
I love
Sesame Street. Come on, you gotta go classic. Sesame Street. They teach you like how to be kind, don't be mean, stop being a grouch.
They're gonna leave that baby shit behind, and they're gonna want to start viewing older shit.
That's the parent fault for allowing them to do it.
Yeah, listening to WAP. And then
my thing is, if you want to take your kid and have somebody else babysit them, you let them know from the get-go, hey, this is what they do, this is what I do not allow.
And that's a good point.
And the kid is the first one to tell you straight up, oh, Mama, I've watched this and this and this. And And you're like, what? No, you didn't. And they tell you a little bit, you're like, you're not going to their house anymore without me.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's the parents.
Yeah,
You are their fair teacher.
Yeah.
So, and the way you act is the way they're gonna act. So if you're out there on the street all night and not be home with them, that's what they're gonna do when they're 15, 16, or even earlier than that. They're gonna be out on the street.
Yeah. But that's a good point, because like I used to be a nanny for this woman in Maryland, and she straight up told me she does not watch SpongeBob. She doesn't watch, anything that's not for a 5-year-old, and she meant that. And I knew she meant it, like, and some people are irresponsible even as like a caregiver. So I can see how it can slip through, but yeah, some stuff should not be for children, like at all. Like kids shouldn't be.
Or TVs, kids still have their phones, they still have TikTok, they're still gonna see all kinds of things you can't regulate.
Yes, you can. There is Google Home, Google Family that I have on my phone that would tell me everything about what she's doing on her phone, and I could make sure that any app that she want to download is under the age of 13.
Maybe.
Also on her Chromebook that she gets from school, I have an app for that too that tells me how many times she's been on YouTube, what website she's been to. I can even put a timer, like on the weekends she cannot be on it past like 7 or 8. I put on there. So for me, I put those boundaries because I do not want my kid to be one of those people that just out and about, don't know what to do. I don't want her to I want her to be better. I don't want no early, she could work at McDonald's, Hardee's, whatever. But if she's going to be doing that and she's going to be like over 20, I expect her to be a manager of that, or not just, the
worker bee.
Just a worker. I want her to be able to work for the life that she wants versus working just to live.
I think in order to start nurturing that, we need to come together as a community and start almost on some school and after school type of stuff with families and parents we trust, so we can help go over kids' homework, actually help them teach each other, and do more than what the school can do for them, because it's not like the government's going to step up and give more to the public schools. If anything, they're rushing to create more charter schools.
But see, we get a lot of money because we have Norfolk Base, we have Oceana, we have Fort Story, and I think there's another base. So we have like 3 or 4 bases right in our city. So we're actually getting a lot of federal money because of that. And that's why like a lot of people like from other cities will try to say they live in Virginia Beach to put their kids in a better school. Even the worst school is still better than some of the other cities' best school.
Yeah, but also think about how even that article was mentioning how from 2008 with that whole collapse, financial collapse back then, they lost about 300 jobs in the teacher space, and then nearly 1 million more just recently with the pandemic. So like even in a situation where this is comparatively better, we're still talking about a situation where teachers still facing low pay, which means parents are also probably facing low pay in the area. I mean, it might be still better than what's in the area, but there's still this kind of competition sense that like we still trying to make it out here. We still trying to like it's a little bit better than it's over here, but like as long as it's a situation where we're like on this crabs and barrel fighting for, the scraps fighting for our spot in the sun. You gotta start coming together as a community and finding like the people you trust. Doesn't have to be just anybody, not to just, especially when it comes to kids, not like just anybody in your circles. But we gotta start preparing ways that we can grow ourselves community. We can give our kids opportunities that they otherwise might not have, and we're just hoping that like if we individually like shelter our children enough, they won't be exposed to the worst shit. And like people do school, there's gonna be things that they're gonna be exposed to. how they develop discretion and how to deal with that, relate to that, comes with the kind of community we raise them in, so that they develop a sense beyond just what mommy and daddy and brothers and sisters.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's our next topic? I'm excited.
So, wanna go?
We're talking about vaccines, we're talking about health, we're talking
Whichever one you want to start with first.
um, a similar vein. Let's go with vaccinations right now. We know that's an interesting topic, and not to fuel any vaccine conspiracies, trigger warning over all this, but I feel that whether you're pro, whether you're anti, especially when it's relation to COVID, it's very important for us to have nuance with things because we see a lot of people being shoved, different opportunities. Like a lot of people, like just recently in New York, not too long ago, they let go 70,000 healthcare workers over not wanting to be vaccinated. I can't even remember how many teachers they were saying they're letting go just like a couple weeks back over not wanting to be vaccinated. And there is a discussion over one, the whole conversation of whether we should have kept max mandates. Is it wild if we have vaccine mandates? Is it really wild to have vaccine mandates when you're working with the elderly, the sick, and children? But a lot of when people discuss it, especially on the news, there's a lot of talk of it being we're getting the Trumpers, we're getting the people who are MAGA heads who are just scared of vaccines. They think microchips are being put in them. And we're not looking at how another side of it, it's not just white people who might be more predisposed to be conservatives who are getting vaccinated and getting vaccinated for COVID, but also a lot of black people have some vaccine hesitancy too. I want to say that there was a recent survey or a recent poll that said about only 28% of like young black people in New York City, for example, are vaccinated. And a lot of the rest of them are like vaccine hesitant, not necessarily against vaccines in general, but really want to wait and see with what's going on with the vaccine. And I think when we talk about people losing jobs or people being basically forced to resign, and we talk about they're not the things that weren't done from the outset of everything with COVID, where like other countries, while people didn't have jobs, they were giving people money. They were paying for a lot. And we had some of that with the unemployment benefits, but we had the
It was
600,
really
300, and their bodies over getting rid of them all together. And then as soon as we came to Pfizer and Johnson Johnson and Moderna, it was more so just like at one point it was like we getting tired of you maybe not taking it, you're gonna have to basically do this or else. And when we talk about the old saying of, is you track a lot more by vinegar, I think that would be something that would apply here. Because if you look at a lot of what even the scientists are saying now, I think the way they should have marketed vaccines to people was saying, eventually everyone is more than likely going to catch COVID. And sure, if you want to rely on your own immune system, if you think you're eating healthy enough that your own immune system is going to protect you against it, protect the rest of your family against it, sure, cool. However, these vaccines, they do have antibodies. Now, they might only last from 3 to 6 months, but if you catch the vaccine in that time period, or maybe catch COVID in that time period, you at least won't have to face serious hospitalization. You're less likely to die. And if they marketed like that, you would have given people the option to weigh out whether or not they want to get vaccinated, how soon they want to get vaccinated. If they want to wait for one of the antiviral pills, like Pfizer says they have one that's coming out that reduces chances of death all the way up to 85%. Or there's also another company, Novavax, that's working on too, on a non-mRNA vaccine, as well as the Merck pill. That's another anti-COVID pill. So if we were talking about keeping max mandate, if we were talking about keeping social distancing, if we were talking about more so options, rather than devolving over whether or not people think there's a microchip in it, or if Nicki Minaj's cousin has
Oh,
smoked.
Jesus.
If it was something like that, I feel like because most of the countries already gotten vaccinated or at least one shot, but for the rest of the people, if you're not even willing to ask them what's it going to take to get you vaccinated, what are you still waiting for? And like, if it's only because now, think about we already talked about how overtaxed it was for teachers. Imagine now that more and more of the country is going to start vaccinating kids as young as 5. Like before, it was a huge push to get everyone vaccinated, all the adults, and then get children up to age 12 vaccinated. Now it's 5 to 11. Imagine the outrage is about to pop off because of that. So I'll turn it over to you guys and your thoughts.
So for me, I have
Mhm.
an 8-year-old. So once I get clearance from her doctor, because she does have heart conditions and everything, once I get clearance from them and they said, yeah, she could go take the vaccine, she's getting it. Only because I believe that it does work and that it's, and I, and my biggest thing is we're not getting, we're not just getting vaccinated for ourselves, but we're getting vaccinated for other people because you could be a carrier, be completely healthy, not knowing that you're carrying it and you're spreading it. And my thing is, I do not want to accidentally spread it to a family member, especially when it's the holidays, or accidentally spread it to friends and then goes to their family. You don't know how much it dribbles down. But I do understand why a lot of Black people probably do not want to get the vaccination. And it could be because of the Tuscany syphilis study that, and a lot of anti-vaccination leaders are feeling the mistrust of the coronavirus based on that. So I could kind of feel like, because I was a little hesitant at first too. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna wait till everybody else gets it, see what happens to them first, especially with each one of them. I'm like, nope, let me see what happens to you first. What happened to you? What happened to you? Okay, now I could go get it. But that's just me because I really don't like shots. I don't, so I'm not like, I rather, I'm not very medicine kind of use person. So I wait till the sun hurts my eyes, but when I'm having a headache before I take a medicine. Um, I wait till like I can't get out of bed before I take painkillers. Like, and I got pretty high tolerance for pain. So that's just me. But like my 12-year-old, eventually she will be getting her shot too. And it's more of prevention for her and for everybody else.
Yeah, I felt the same way like in the beginning. I definitely was like, I don't know about it because I can't take the flu shot. That's my biggest thing because I got like super sick from it when I was a kid, and after that they told me I could not do it. But I definitely was like, oh man, they're gonna shoot us with something. But then I actually researched and I waited for them to say, hey, the people who have autoimmune disorders like I do, they can go ahead and it's okay for you guys to get it. They've run the test, nothing is happening, nobody has died. So my thing is the misinformation is what irks my soul. I don't care if you don't want to get a vaccination. My brother does not want to get a vaccination, but it's the misinformation that comes out of his mouth sometimes that blows the hell out of me.
Everybody thinks they're a doctor, they have internet.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to repeat what he said last night. It has nothing to do with COVID vaccine, so I'm not going to repeat that shit. But him and another guy I call well, my actual brother and the guy that I call my little brother. He's been on this YouTube rabbit hole where he listens to these people who don't have a damn medical degree, don't even practice natural medicine, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're just talking shit. And it's annoying because they'll they'll come and be like, oh yeah, this is true. I'm like, where's his degree? Where did he study this? Like,
Where's his doctor office?
yeah, where's his doctor's office? What school did he graduate from? I'm not saying you have to graduate from a good school to be a doctor, because you can graduate from little school and be a great doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do not have the qualifications, I don't want you telling me shit. I'm sorry. If you get your money from YouTube videos where you're saying that the COVID vaccine is going to change my DNA and all this craziness, and I'm going to go into another fucking dimension or some stupid shit, I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I'm gonna be honest, I trust my doctors. They have worked with me with like everything. They know that I'm a special case. I have a couple of autoimmune disorders. So it just annoys me. Just like, and I have friends that say that COVID is a hoax. I love them to death, but that's them. That's how they want to see it. But I'm gonna be honest. I watched my elderly neighbor, who's like my grandmother, almost fucking die from COVID because her son, who lives with her, went out to a cabaret during fucking COVID, caught it, brought it back home, and she's like 80 or maybe 83. And she's healthy as hell. But she, like, when I saw them trying to bring her down, like, it was just heartbreaking because I'm like, this is a woman that goes to dance classes, exercise classes, still drives, doesn't crash, like, and she's, not trying to say that all old people crash, but, this
See,
is
that's my grandma. She won't, she was supposed to come to the States to, because she's from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So she was supposed to go to Arizona. And she went like this. Not till your country gets it together will I be flying over because I'm afraid I'm gonna catch it and die. And I'm like, don't you have the vaccination? She goes, yeah, but you can still, there's a still small chance to catch it and die because people are stupid and they don't want to go and get vaccinated like they're supposed to. Why y'all don't listen to the older people? We know. So I'm like, okay, grandma.
Yeah, she's right though, because like, and okay, so when I was in the hospital, when like I almost had like sepsis from like another immune disorder I have, like there was a lady who was literally just like me, had rheumatoid arthritis, and she was like, I don't want to get the vaccine, and it's gonna kill me and all this stuff. And the doctor, he literally had to explain to her. He was like, look, I understand your fears. I understand that, this is something new, but the way that this works is that it's not a cure, but it keeps the disease from like mutating. Because anybody, yes, you can still catch it, but the vaccine keeps it from mutating into what now we have Delta, 4, 5, Pru, whatever.
Yeah, we got different number
whatever
names.
thing, and it's like, I thought about it, I was like, damn, I couldn't even explain it to people like that, but I might have to because people keep thinking it's a cure. No one ever said it was a cure. No one
But
ever
you know
said
what?
it'd be like, yeah. Like,
so
no.
for females, when we get it, the vaccination, and if we happen to get pregnant, I haven't done the research, but does the vaccine or the antibodies for COVID go to the next kid?
Not that I've seen. I haven't heard anything about kids getting it from their moms in their bellies, so I don't.
Because a lot of times when it's kind of like evolution. So sometimes like
But that would be DNA and stuff. But it doesn't change your DNA. That's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So, I don't know where that came. Who came up with that? I want to know who came up with that theory. That is so ridiculous. See, I actually took biology in school, so I can actually touch on a few of these little things. So, no, these vaccines do not change your DNA. Stop saying that lie. That is a lie. Mic drop. Go ahead, Tris. Because I'm done. I'm done. I'm about to make myself mad.
I'm still waiting on like I'd rather take a pill than the mRNA vaccine and everything like that. But I would be like, for example, when I thought I had COVID earlier last year, like I was having trouble breathing, even going to the end of the block. I was like, God damn, that COVID.
Yeah.
So I was going to the hospital, like I'm like, I basically had to like speed walk through the park to get there, and I'm like hawking up mucus and shit like that. Like trigger warning for those who don't like this type of words, those type of imagery. But I'm like, oh god damn, I'm dying. What the fuck? But it wasn't. It was just decongested heart failure. So, but from all that, I was like, on one hand, I was like, should I take it because if I get COVID, I'm worried about, like my heart. But at the same time, like I'm like also worried about like vaccine-related myocarditis, and like if someone doesn't administer the jab right, especially since they changed the way they were doing it with aspirating, because a lot of people after getting that first jab and the pain in their arm, they're like, "Fuck that! I did one. I'm good. I'm not doing a second." So like they took away where you're supposed to pull away and see if any blood came out to check see if you hit a blood vessel or hit the vessel instead. And if there was blood, you're supposed to throw it away. But they're not doing that anymore. So there are certain cases where people are at risk of heart inflammation because of vaccine-related carditis, myocarditis. Y'all gonna give me like y'all gonna have to put subtitles in the words I'm saying myocarditis. We're gonna just go. But
To me, text it to me. Okay.
well, so I think mandates are the wrong way to go, but I think if they were way more nuanced in discussing things as they're developing, because I don't know if you guys seen this video that Russell Brand had put out, where he was basically talking about you see the way Pfizer bought ads on CNN, MSNBC, and all these other things, and of course, it's going to make people who are seeing things like that distrust Pfizer, which is what one of the leading companies in, because they're also the ones talking about leading with the new antiviral pill for COVID. They're the ones who've been the ones mostly pushed for booster shots and everything like that. So things like that, things like all the conspiracy theories out there, things like when Joe Rogan's getting in a battle with like Sanjay Gupta and catching them in certain like either lies or certain feeding into certain things to beat up on the conspiracy theories. If we have more nuance in how we discuss these things, eventually you'll get more and more people who either see enough milestones or feel here getting vaccinated, or just like for me, I'm just waiting on and still social distancing, wearing my mask every time I go outside. And even if I personally am like, I'll wait a little bit longer, I'm not going to discourage anybody from getting vaccinated. And I think that's the point. There's certain people who, like, yes, we alive until the war in Iraq. Yes, the government, like, Jesus. And,
Mike,
we
I
good?
can't hear you. I couldn't hear you for a second.
Oh, okay.
Your baby. Here's the baby.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I feel all of us should take more time, do more research, and talk to people in our lives who are in like I don't get into no battles. I'm not someone looking to get in battles with people about things. Just ask them, okay, what would it take for you to be vaccinated? What's the thing holding you back? And like, okay, you think it will have you shifting through dimensions or changing your DNA. Why?
Yeah.
Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old in under 5 minutes, please. All right. And then you can know whether or not to even attempt with them ever again, or just like, that's your life, you live it beautifully. I do what I got.
Yeah, I don't know. My dad always says that, like, if the government started saying, "Hey, we're gonna give each person who gets a vaccination $2,000," he's like, "Yeah, they will go and get that. They will go and get it for
There's
2,000."
actually Instacart. If you get your vaccination, they'll actually give you some money for it. Hold on, let me bring it up.
Let me work for Instacart, honey. Are you about to look up Instacart? You're like, yes.
While we value your work on the Insta, it says right here. Oops.
Is that $25?
Yeah.
Hey, it's something. It's definitely something. Shoot. But yeah,
And
my
then
dad's like, "Don't do
I
it."
think Amazon is doing it too.
But Amazon's like that though. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I had a burp. Not saying that y'all that work at Amazon are sucky, but y'all business kind of sucks. I work for Amazon technically. I am an Amazon influencer, so I shouldn't really. Actually, let me stop talking shit about my influencer.
I love Amazon.
My influencer
Never worked for them.
Talking shit.
I like getting my stuff.
Like, Black Friday is coming up. You know damn well. They took it from me before, so yeah, I better shut up. I better shut the hell up. Yeah, I've gotten in trouble.
So the early Black Friday deal is the KitchenAid mini quart stand mixer
coupon
for
codes.
$69.
I got the
That's what it
coupon
is right now.
codes. I got the coupon codes, people. Follow me.
You need to let me know.
I'm gonna give you the coupon codes. You want that mixer? I'll find a coupon.
Okay. Mama need a mixer.
Yeah. Woo. I made this in a mixer. It's a meringue cookie.
Ooh, yummy. You need to start sending me stuff, food.
Oh, we'll talk about that once we end. Yes. Well, we gotta talk about stuff like that. Okay, so are we done with the vaccine topic? Yeah. Okay. Good topic, y'all. Good topic. Good run. All right. So the next topic is something that's going on, and not just in DC, not just in New York, and not just in Virginia Beach. This is going on everywhere. Gun violence. Like, we're seeing an uptick in it all over. We're seeing a lot of mass shootings, especially since the kids have gone back to school. It's really unfortunate, especially here in DC. It seems like every couple of hours, maybe every 4 or 5 hours, somebody is getting shot and killed or shot, period. I follow Kill Mo News, and it's just like a constant update. And I feel like a lot of these kids, they stayed home, and now, okay, they stayed home and they watched Power, Empire, these shoot 'em up films and stuff like that, and played Grand Theft Auto all fucking day when they weren't like doing their schoolwork. And now they feel like that's what real life is. Kind of just like how I was saying, like in the beginning, that they look at these films and think that they're supposed to be like shooting and doing all, like, because I think it was maybe last month, some guys were like driving past like a shopping center, and one was actually standing up through the sunroof shooting like an AK, I believe it was, and he shot a 12-year-old. Like, just randomly, just and they're just driving by. He's just shooting. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, this is not a video game where we respawn after we get shot. Once you're dead, you're dead. Like, we've had a 10-year-old boy who was on the football team that got shot. He was just playing his video game in his house, all because somebody wanted to run up. And instead of actually running up on the person they wanted to kill, they shot out their car. And the bullets ended up hitting the little boy in the head. He died. Like, his mom, like, devastated. Like, a little 6-year-old girl was with her dad, even though her dad he was doing some illegal stuff, but they came past in the car, shot, ended up hitting her instead of him. They didn't even hit him. And it's just like, this is not a video game. This is real life. People, like, the consequences of your actions are dire. You know, like, this shit trickles down. And then you can't be mad when, like, when people do it to your families. Like, you can't be upset when you did it to somebody and then somebody come back and do it to you. Like, I'm sorry, I'm done. Who wants to go next? Not next.
So,
next.
so for Virginia Beach, because of all the shootings that usually happens around college week, and what happened to Pharrell and everything. So I found out that about in July they started a new program called Shot Spotter. So what it's supposed to do is supposed to help to see or spot who shot who. Kind of like camera, but it's more focused for, bullets, and that's what they kind of look for. 3 weeks ago, it got expanded. So it says the technology that helps police find the location of gunshots was recently expanded to other areas of Virginia Beach after first being rolled out this summer at the oceanfront. On October 9th, police said that the expanded reach helped them arrest a man who fired a gun in a residential area in the Western Bayside area. In a press release, police said they responded to the 400 block of Cotton Way just after 4:30 a.m. after receiving an alert from the shot spotter. The technology used a sensor system that detects the sound of gunfire and uses GPS technology to pinpoint its exact location. So, and they were able to arrest the person because of that. And I think that's kind of cool. Not cool that we had to come up with this technology, because so many people. Cool. But yeah, the technology itself is cool. But how do you guys feel? Because I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that like I think it's Britain have where you can't have guns or own a gun.
Is it Britain? I think it is. Not sure they have more stabbings than anything.
But you can kind of survive a stabbing easier than a bullet.
Well, yeah, you can kill way less people with knifing unless you're
So, but my thing is, do you guys think that we should kind of adopt something like that, or keep our rights as bearing arms? And because I don't think when they came up with the Constitution, this is what they were thinking about bearing arms, is shooting each other up.
No, it was more because I believe were they? Okay, so I can't freaking remember what the point of it was, but it had something to do with them clashing with Great Britain and being able to just bear arms.
Yes. But especially back then, it was usually something to either round up slaves that were running away, or to be able to rebel against a tyrannical government, which our day and age with tanks, drones, and everything else, they taken out with your own family supply of guns and you have. But I would like to um, on that subject and also on the violence, because along with gun violence, we're also seeing an increase. And like, remember that season of attacks on Asian people and
Mhm.
by either homeless people or gangs of like kids or whatever. And then now we're seeing a lot of gropings or a lot of attacks on women where men are stalking women. They're especially women that are either like they see living alone or single mothers who just have kids. Um, to the gun issue, I will say that I'm personally for, I do believe in universal background checks, actual common sense things to keep guns out of the hands of, people who committed violent crimes, people who have, committed domestic abuse, although they would never do that because then you lose what, like 40% of the police force, because a lot of them are the same ones abusing their partners. But and I also, at the same time, while I feel that like we should be regulating who's actually able to have access to guns,
Yeah.
as long as we have a violent police force over violent military, where you know we can expect people to be killed by cops, and for the cops to get away with it, and to barely be charged, let alone fired or put in prison for killing people. I don't believe in like getting rid of guns completely because especially if you're not gonna also defund and abolish those type of powers in your police force. But as far as like what's actually causing all this increase in violence and danger, I believe like I'm not one of those people who ascribe to necessarily just the entertainment that's either on TV or video games or even like music because they use it and say rap music's making people more violent. Now there might be something to say, misogynistic messages can be problematic, but I think the larger issue is poverty and capitalism. And when you have, especially when you think about the pandemic, how many people lost their jobs and they had like families stuck with their kids at home, and they were talking about the increase in domestic abuse there. So that's why you gotta get people back to school as if that deals with the issue of all the domestic abuse that was happening during everybody just being at home. We're talking about people who've been like taken off of their regular schedules and allowed to fester with whatever type of interpersonal issues, and that festering happening when they're financially insecure. Because, like I said, our country wasn't doing what it needed to do to take care of people, and whatever assistance they were getting was a couple stimulus checks here and there. While other countries were getting like almost all, if not all, of their paychecks met by their governments. So you have people either living off unemployment or living off of their one or two or three stimulus checks. And that's going to ultimately lead to people like when we talk about video games, when we talk about music, when we talk about those things, if you're already in a mindset to do some things, yeah, certain entertainment is going to get you or going to like get yourself hype on to actually go out and do something. But for a lot of other people, that's just how they get that extra energy or that extra effort out. But when you had that situation with the pandemic, which we're kind of still going through, where you're allowed to like ruminate over what you don't have, whether it's those creepy guys who already are financially insecure and they want girlfriends, but they're not in a situation to be a high value man enough to go and get the type of women that they want. So what are they doing? They're following women, they're stalking them, they're trying to break into their houses, like waiting around the corner for them to open the door to try and rush in.
Yeah.
And a situation where there's only so much you can do for different people individually if their mind is going like that. But even if you look at the history, if you watch like Bailey Sarian or any of these true crime people and see the history of people who become serial rapists or serial murderers, they most of them were just natural born sociopaths.
Yeah.
Like themselves went through a cycle of abuse growing up and then reached a point where like this was their thing. And similarly, for a lot of people out there, they're left behind on some level. And in the same way, not to take up too much of this conversation, but to wrap it up, in the same way that I say that it's not on Black people's like job to like de-radicalize Nazis or anything like that. That's white people either de-radicalize them and punch Nazis, while Black people get to protect and build their safe spaces and build their communities up. Similarly, when we look at these type of crimes that are happening, I think it's for, especially when we talk about like the crimes against women, I think it's for Black men to try and de-radicalize or take out, not necessarily take out, but deal with the issue of violence, especially if it's Black men perpetrating it or just men in general perpetrating it. So men to handle that while women can focus on women and children and building protective spaces for themselves. Because I know when I go walking out late at night, I'm gonna carry my little alcohol in case I run into problems, in case I've had random people curse me out on the street late at night. I'm just like, what do you want?
Yep.
What do you want?
See, I had to carry
Stop
pepper
saying
spray.
about this damn mini flamethrower.
But you know what?
What do you want? Sir?
I think it should be a lot harder to get a gun than it is to get a driver's license.
Yeah, that's right. I believe that. And like I wanna say that you're right. It is more than just the movies and the video games. I didn't mention music, but yeah, you're
Music
right.
kind of hype you up. It kind of gets
Yeah,
you.
it does hype them up.
But if you're already on it,
So
if you're
it's a
already
lot of
mad,
mental illness that is not being touched on, and
but not.
no resources to even get therapy, get medicine for whatever mental illness it is.
But
like that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
I think you have to go see a doctor. It should be that you should, if you want a gun, you need to go see a doctor, a regular doctor, a psychologist, doctor. You know, go a couple of doctors to make sure that you're in the right mindset to own a gun. Because some people will own a gun because they're like, I can just have it. Might not buy bullets, but they just want it, just to feel kind of a little safe. While other people will just buy guns because they want to have that rush of killing somebody because they did it on a video game or they saw their friend do it or so-and-so got. And not only that, but we need to make sure that when you purchase a gun or you're able to get guns, you need to purchase a lockbox with it, a safe box.
Yeah.
And only you and the person behind, or just you, know the code to it because
look,
it's too easy to get into it, and kids are getting into the lockbox. It's too easy.
It is.
Or you don't lock it because you just forgot because you're not used to it.
Well, I don't even think they're forgetting. It's more of like an ease of access. Okay, well, what if somebody comes in my house? I don't want to have to be jiggling the lock because
I'd rather jiggling the locks versus my kid going into my lockbox and accidentally shoot me at night. That's why I have a bat. Yeah. Bat is the safest way to go.
You're like,
you can throw it.
Have something, but we're not
gonna throw it. You can hit it.
Yeah, but a bat can't save you from a bullet. I will say that.
I would say, I feel like if you have guns, you should hide them better than you hide your sex toys. They should be the one thing your child can have absolutely no access to. But I feel that there is also the same way that like the government treats guns in states where they don't have guns in the office. Women don't have access to like pepper spray or tasers. They gotta order from out of state and then go pick it up and get it from out of state in order to do it. And then if you're caught with it, now it's treated like you're fucking somebody out of Texas going to Chick-fil-A with their fucking assault rifles and shit. So like I love the idea that we need, there should be some kind of psych evaluation for if you're gonna have a gun because look what we just said about cops and how so many of them are the same ones abusing their partners, going out and shooting, and then when they shoot somebody.
I'm sorry, they should be going to the psychologist at least once a month because they deal with too much killing. Or at least once a week, they deal with too much killing, too much fighting, and they have to meet
before they even become a police.
Oh yeah, they should have. They should have to go through
rookies out here that are killing people. Rookies. So yeah, no.
They know the kind of person who's going to have the type of mindset to be a cop is going to be the type of person, especially a young cop, is going to be the type of person who wants to chase down people and be the one who catches So there's people they're looking away on because they're like, unless they're like really like, they're gonna be a problem for us too. They like that, and especially if what you're defending is property, if what you're defending is the system overall, because how quickly can you reach cops if your life is really in danger? Cops love like, or like if someone's stalking you and like you go to a place and like, well, we can't predict the future. What can we do about someone who might harm you? Like they would much rather wait for a body than sit there and actually like keep tabs, have resources to keep tabs on people who are doing harmful shit. So that if they escalate, like, all right, we got that ass. We've been watching your ass. Like we have the surveillance for what? You know?
Yeah, and that actually just happened here in Maryland, where some guy was trying to break into a woman's house, and like who knows what he would have done to her, but he followed her home while she was walking her dog, and he literally like just kind of waited. And you could hear her saying, have a good day, and she took her dog, went in the house. He comes up to the porch and she has a Ring doorbell. He's like messing with it, and you can see he has zip ties.
Oh, I think I seen
Like
that.
you saw it, yeah. Like he was going to hurt her, and they are not going to charge him with attempted like burglary. None of it. None of it. None of it. They are going to. They said that he was trespassing. No, he was like trying to get up in there, like for 22 minutes. She was on the phone with the police for 22 minutes. She shouldn't have had to be on there for 5 or 1. I mean, like, I'm gonna be so honest right now. If that was a white woman saying there is a black man up in my door,
oh, they would have been there real quick.
They would have said, "Okay, sending units now," and you would have heard the real, like, come on, like, and I've had experiences with like Ohio cops when I lived there. And there was a fight in the building where I was a security guard, and I called them and I said, "Hey, they're fighting in this elevator. There's beer all over the place. There's someone injured. I need you guys to come." And they were like, "Okay, we'll send someone." They're down the street, literally across the street from the building.
Girl, your name should have been Tiffany then.
I put the white voice on, but they knew who I was. But no,
I would have found somebody.
Girl, they called back and said, "Do you really need us to come here?" I said, "Yeah. Are you crazy? Like, there's been an assault, and the person is down here telling me to call you. Get your ass here, or I'm gonna speak to somebody else in your damn department." They got their ass there because I put the department car. But I'm like, when they got there, they were just like not cool to the people, like, because where I worked was like in the hood, and that was an experience in itself because I don't do hood. But yeah, they didn't care. Like, if it's a black person, they don't care. Like, and it's sad.
They're waiting for a body on one end or the other. They're waiting for who they can charge with something that's gonna do years. And that's all they care about. And that's why I can't say I would swear up all guns, especially, but at the same time too, that's the flip side, that women who actually shoot their attackers, they do more time on average than the men who kill their partners in domestic abuse. So like, at the end of the day, they're looking for someone to charge. Like, is he in? Is he? We'll be there a little late. We'll get some donuts, some pizza, and by the time we come, one of y'all better be there so we can lock up somebody. All right? Yeah. That's how they are, and it's a fucked up system. And that's, like I said, they can't lock me up for no alcohol. I know that much because
Lord have mercy. So sad. What is that? Oh, that was you.
It was my TV.
That's your TV?
Oh no, that's me. That's Tyray's cell phone.
Okay.
Okay. But so I want you to start this one off, Tristan, because you know more about it than I do.
Okay, which one is-
Well, it's the same topic about the groping attacks. 'Cause it's not here in DC, so
Okay.
more.
Moving more into the topic of
The violence.
yeah, I feel like in the same way I say everything, I'm big on everything connects back to oppression, capitalism, poverty. And what I was mentioning before about you see in like a lot of the manosphere, this concept of high value man and like what is going to validate us as men to have as much access as possible to women and to the kind of women we want. And basically, bitch, don't tell me nothing about what you're looking for in a man because how old you are makes you less valuable, blah blah blah, all that bullshit, right? And not to say that what's happening with this is on them, but in the same way, men are trying to find some validation for what they can do to be valuable enough to women and more access to women. There's these other guys, these incels, who are all the way in the nice guy train of like everything I do, no, these women don't want me. They just see me as dusty, and they take it upon themselves. Like I remember there was one video where the guy who was just waiting outside of a woman's apartment, basically, and ringing her doorbell and trying to convince his way into her house.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
When some guy met with him and interviewed him about it, he was trying to play it off like, oh, that bitch was like basically trying to make it sound like he didn't even like that bitch anyway. You know how niggas are. You turn him down, it's like that bitch ugly anyway. Fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
Very much that energy, and it's like a lot of these guys, people know this. Like Paris Milan is great on these type of things if anybody wants to do it. Basically, that a lot of these guys that play it off like, oh, well, I was just trying to holler at her, and this is where else I'm going to meet her at. And a lot of the people who kind of said, oh, they should have gone out and said hi, or like he just went about the wrong way. We also got to stop normalizing that type of energy of like we have Tinder, we have dating profiles, like we can meet a bunch of people online, and yeah, like no one likes dating websites, but like we gotta get out of this energy from back in the day where like you're trying to shout down people and people have to pretend they have headphones in to avoid contact with your ass and shit like that. Like especially during the pandemic, I said I feel like a lot of people were just separated from people, and it allowed those type of thoughts and desires to fester. The loneliness caught up with them, and we have a lot more stalkers out there. We have a lot more people who are like one case of I remember seeing in New York probably around last year where a guy like jumped on top of a woman from behind in broad daylight on the street to grope her and everything like that. Like any like all that to grope someone, like what's wrong with you? But if you're that desperate and you're just like in your mind, you're like, well, everything else I do doesn't work. So I mean, let me get somewhere I can get some. That's where you start getting into that rapist mindset. That's where you start getting into the things you're willing to do for the type of affection and touch and all the other shit. It's not coming to you despite whatever nice guy chick.
I I will agree. People, especially now, well, I like that you brought up the whole Tinder thing, like how they could easily go on Tinder, but like it's people on Tinder. I've had an experience where I don't know if was it like I don't know if I connected with dude or whatever, but like he was just rude, straight up rude, said I was a two or something like that. And I'm like, because like I think
This guy, cause he lied.
rejected his advance to like sleep with him or something like that. And he's
Just
like,
because
well,
you're on
I
Tinder
was
does
just
not
trying to
mean
be
people want to
nice.
sleep with you.
You're really a two. And I was like, block. Like I was just like, dude, come on now. Come on.
Actually, I had a guy stalk me when I was working at Bare Middles at the mall. And there's only one manager that closes for the night and everything. So I'm getting out of the building around 11 and I see this guy. And I'm trying to go to my car because I have to park really, really far away. And this guy, he sees me and I look down and I kept trying to go. And then he saw that my car is the only one there. So he started heading to the car. Well, I'm trying to head to my car. And this guy, he started talking. He's like, hey, you're beautiful. Let me holler at you for a minute. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I need to get back to my kids. You know, try to be like, hey, you know, I don't want you. I got kids. You know, hopefully that would deter you. He goes, oh man, I have a daughter too. You want to see her? And I'm like, no, I need to get home.
Wait a minute.
And then he goes, yeah, I have her because my baby mama is a trip and I'm looking for a new girl. And I'm like this, look, girl, Taray was the first picture on my gallery. So I went like this is my man.
Taray saves the day, honey. Taray.
That boy was like, oh man, I see you got somebody. Because if I showed him a white guy, he would have probably tried to, you know, to hit on me more.
Like
He's a black guy. But I'm like, oh, that's my husband.
Thank God for
I was so scared and so frightened because security, because that mall is so big. Mm-hmm. So the security wasn't around that area quite yet. And so and the guy, he's like, yo, I want your number though. I was like, what? I have a husband, I got kids. Like, what more? You want to see my other boyfriend? Like, you know, leave me alone. I'm trying to tell you that I'm not interested in the nicest way.
Yeah.
Because again, I am by myself. Mm-hmm. I am trying to get into my car. I don't want you to accidentally, you know, jump into my car with me or try to use the door as a weapon or anything like that. So I'm like, you know, my door's still locked. What else do you need? Like,
yeah.
He tried to get a ride, bum a ride, and everything. I was like, oh nope.
Oh no. See, he did a little too much. He's like, I have a flamethrower. He is not playing. But no,
so
that reminds me of when I was in college and my ex was stalking the fuck out of me. And the school covered it up. I just want, UDC, I haven't forgotten. Y'all covered up a lot of shit. Yep, I said it. But anyway, he was stalking me every time I would like come to school. He knew like which way I had to go for my classes. One day he wouldn't let me get past him. Like he stopped like right in front of me and would like move every time I moved. Like, and this went on for like maybe a month and a half. And like, I think the one thing that really like set off a lot of like chaos in the whole entire situation was when I was in English class and like he was coming past the door and like me, I'm daydreaming, looking out the door because our teacher wasn't there. And he walks past. I turn my head because I'm like, I don't want to look at this dude because like the reason why like we weren't even together anymore is like a whole nother conversation that we're gonna have a whole nother day. But I turned my head and a girl that I was cool with, she's like, hey, why is he staring at you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I look and this dude is staring, he's just looking in the classroom, just staring dead straight at me. And I'm like, this has got to end. Like, period. I told the guy I was dating and he was about tired of the shit. So he told the dude, I'm gonna beat your ass. And he said, okay, come and beat my ass. And instead of actually taking the fight, he called the campus police. And I get a call on my damn day off saying I have to come up there because where's Karina? But I just, oh, there she goes. What's that? What happened, nigga?
Sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine.
No, because you were like taking forever. And you weren't moving. Your video wasn't working. And then his blanket was like this.
Wait, was I frozen on yours too?
Yeah.
No, I was only frozen on yours.
So I think it was just my app crashed and yeah.
Okay, but yeah, he called the campus police. We had a trial. I asked them, do I need witnesses? Because I have witnesses. They told me no. This nigga came into the thing with witnesses saying that I had talked to him, but what was happening was I was telling him, can you please leave me alone? So this teacher says, yeah, I saw them talking. That's all he said. He didn't say what we were talking about. And I lost my case because they lied to me and said I couldn't. UDC, I'm on your ass. I'm on the ass. Oh, they covered up a lot of shit with that. Oh, child. Y'all don't know. UDC trifling. They about as trifling as Howard, honey. About as trifling as them. But I digress. Let me. Sean Fuller, I'm on your ass. Yeah. SGA, Sean Fuller, you. Yep. I'm sorry. I might delete. No, I'm not going to delete that. I'm going to keep that in there.
I'm sorry. But if you're caught stalking people or groping with females or men, because men gets it too. But if you're a person that will be doing that kind of crap, I think once you get caught, you need to go to some kind of class and see a psychologist, because it might be something deeper than just trying to find somebody or just because somebody made you feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a possessive type of energy to think that, like, to not think that him standing there staring at you through the class window isn't insane, is wild. For you not to be standing there and just be like, yo, I'm so fucking crazy right now. Just like,
No. I got stalked so bad one time, and I was so scared to tell my manager. It was when I was younger. I was like 17 or 18. I worked on a military base, and on military base, you think you're safe.
Yeah.
So this guy, he used to work at the Next, and he would come to the store, and we would look around, and I'd be scared. And he would wait till all the other customers leave, and he comes close to me. He goes, "I'll see you later tonight," and he would leave. I felt so bad and ashamed because I was like, maybe I did something to get that attention. So what ended up happening was the guy, he would try to come back.
Oh no, girl, you doing things. Your thing is doing things. Oh no, her face though. You're going in and out. You're going in and out.
Close door.
Okay, I think we are having
time.
Lock it. Can you hear us?
And I'll be
text her. Let her know.
This guy.
Because I don't hear. Okay, I can't even hear her now. Is she talking? Nina!
Can you guys hear me?
You're going in and out. Second. Like you're not even moving. We're gonna have to cut that part. Okay, she's back, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay.
Hearing everything. All right.
So, the guy, he used to come by, and I would count behind the door with the moonlight, trying to count money.
Mm-hmm.
And I will wait for an hour after I was wait for an hour just so I can make sure this guy was gone. When my manager found out, he was pissed as hell at me for allowing this guy to do that and for not me telling him what's going on. Because he's like, you're supposed to trust me with this. So he was mad about that. So I had to start.
Mad at you, though. I think he was.
So he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at the fact that what was going on.
Yeah.
and he told me I need to park behind the building, like further down. He's like, one of the guys, one of the military guys, he's like, hey, just come by like at this time, please, just make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
But it was bad. And then when he found out who the guy was,
Oh no, I think you're doing it again. Okay.
he went the shit out of the guy.
It's going.
And then called the MP.
Okay. I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now.
It's me. It's my I think it's my internet or me updating my computer.
Ooh.
It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Because I told you I just updated right before we started this.
Dang, it should be working perfectly fine, honey. But no, I mean, I understand. That's technology for you. But damn, girl. Damn.
Glad that they all okay through those situations. So glad that they all okay through those situations though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was scared of guys for a while.
Yeah. Same here. I like, I'm gonna be honest, to this day, I really don't even mess with like Jamaican guys like that. Like I don't. I can't. And frat guys, child, can't. I cannot do frat guys at all. That's dead for me. Like that ruined it for me. Like I tried again, and
My pumpkin over here making faces at me. He's trying to get into the camera. I'm trying to be good about it. I'm like, no kid this time.
Okay. Look, we all have lives. My dog has been like this for like the past 10 minutes, like making noises like, so trust me. I might have to cut that weird part out. I don't know. I don't want people to be like, what is wrong with her?
So I have another topic. So last week we were talking about how we were supposed to be talking about, can we separate the art from the artist? And we were supposed to talk about RKelly and who was it? Who else?
Dave Chappelle. But we
Dave
talked
Chappelle.
about Dave Chappelle though.
So we talked about him.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I understand, yes, RKelly is a bad person. What he did was wrong. No matter how he tried to justify or whatever, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get hate. I like his music. I like two of his songs. And one of them is from an iconic movie. I Believe I Can Fly. Not the new one. But the old one. The original. And it kind of like, it introduced like this movie is about hope. It's about, going from being down to actually believing in yourself to keep going to the long distance. So for me, the artist, I don't even think about him. I think of the song. The other one, I only like it because it's a song from like middle high school. Ignition.
Oh Lord.
Yes. That is my yeah. So maybe making music, maybe just but no, but I like the beat, the rhythm of it. I don't even go, hey, play me that RKelly song. No, I'm like, Ignition, come on. Put your key in it. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
That is how I see it. I don't even see it as he sung those songs. Did he write it too?
Yeah,
or did somebody else write it?
He wrote his song. So
So
Well, but RKelly.
That's how I feel too.
Because you know how like some people have those ghost writers and claim they wrote it. So that's why I'm like,
Nah, but RKelly he wrote his songs. He was ghostwriter for other people, but yeah, like.
So that's how I feel about that. I could actually, for me, certain songs, I don't associate with the artist is more of that memory when that song was playing. What was I doing then? Or like Hot in Here by Nelly. I was on a bus and I was taking like my sweater off or something like that, and my stomach showed, and that song happened to be playing. And I'm like, cool, it is hot in here. So kind of like that. Imagine me with a really heavy country accent. Because I moved from Louisiana to DC. One light to there's actually buses that goes around the places. So that's how like I separate it. Because some people they're like, oh, I have to know the title, who sung it, who wrote it, who did. And I know, just give me the title of the song or the beat, and I'm good.
Okay.
How you guys feel about it?
I'm gonna be honest. I cannot rock the town. I actually don't even listen to a lot of his music like that. Like I don't like. I used to like Love Letter. I think it was. That was
Nope.
a pretty song.
For me, just those two songs. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
One because one was a memory, and the other one, I believe I Can Fly, is inspirational. I'm sorry, but it
No, I understand. You can separate the art from the artist. I can't, because I know that if I stream that music, that's going to put money and help fund the lifestyle of somebody who has hurt people.
Go back to 2005 and do LimeWire.
And fuck up your computer. Yeah.
So you get that money though.
Wondering why the computer won't turn on. LimeWire. But no, in all seriousness, I cannot support someone who, number one, takes advantage of little girls. I can't do it because when I was like a little kid, like I went on a field trip and the bus driver kept touching my ass, my little 5-year-old ass. So I told my mama. She was just like, oh no, it's nothing. He's just, moving you along. And I'm like, no, I feel like a grab, and it got to the point like every time because we were like downtown, watching Monument, Thomas Jefferson. Every time I got on the bus, he was just like, and I even jumped out the way. And I feel for the girls that didn't get heard. Huh? What just happened? What happened?
Okay.
I don't know. It seems like a system-wide cut up. I don't know.
But no, like I just feel for the girls that they're screaming out, and people are like, that didn't happen. It didn't happen. Da da da, or blaming them. I can't support.
It's degrading. You feel like you're not worthy. You feel like you're not deserving of love.
Well, that didn't make me feel that way. It just made me feel very uncomfortable. Like as a 5-year-old, nobody is supposed to be. And the thing is this, your parents tell you if somebody touches you in a way that you don't like, let me know. And I did exactly that, and I wasn't believed. And it was just, that's why I just feel for them. It is other reasons too, but like I said, another conversation for another day. So, yeah, but I cannot separate the art from the artist. I will not fund your lifestyle. I will not fund your jail fund so you can get oodles of noodles. You're going to starve in that jail, bitch. Starve and die. and rot. And hopefully
Catch a
somebody
disease.
rapes you in your ass. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm not pro prison essay, but and I'm specifically not prison essay because then we just it normalizes to people like, hey, they're gonna get their just desserts there, so let's never reform prison because let the monsters kill the monsters, let the monsters eat the monsters. But it's fucked up a lot that a lot of not just women, men too, but especially girls and women go through. And I might like certain R. Kelly songs, like the first five on Trap in the Closet. Like I don't watch them regularly, but like I can sit and watch them. Like if it just came on, I love singing along to those. And I have my own little remix to the remix to Ignition. That I like to sing to myself uh, to entertain myself and sound like an old barbershop quartet with it. But what you call it? The important thing with separating art from artists is to not try to rationalize how much you enjoy art so others should like indulge you in it, but to enjoy an art while still holding like and even recognize R. Kelly's musical genius while saying recognizing how he used that and how the
Mhm.
industries where we give all to anyone who's talented enough to like innovate in it gives passes these type of people to continue to pray. People like the music industry, the film industry, the especially even child TV industry, like individuals like Dan Schneider allegedly,
Oh
and
God, Dan Snyder.
people who have cultural things and like created predatory room for different types of like the concept of Asia, nothing but a number. And you look at like going back into history, just how predatory a lot of these industries are, but not even just music, not even just Hollywood, even the White House. I mean, in a battle between Bill Clinton and Trump with all his accusers, in order to keep them from bringing that up, what he do? He invited
Mhm.
Bill Clinton's accusers to the debate. So that they brought up is like, got the point, got the point. And same thing with this past election, where at the same time Joe Biden has a bunch of accusers that they silenced to make sure that he at least looked better than
I wanted Bernie.
hmm,
I wanted Bernie.
man, I wanted Burn to, but they was gonna let Burn in. And from the time
They
Burn was
hating on him. They hating on my man Bernie.
you gotta strike the king. You can't listen. Don't strike the king if you're not gonna kill the king. And if you're gonna be the king's my friend, then you're not gonna win. But yeah, like we have to be able to like recognize like yes, these songs might touch you. These works of art, these contributions, like even people in history have done amazing things. Gandhi, for instance, and his legacy of like, hey man, hey, I don't even be doing nothing, but I'm gonna lay with these girls right here to prove my chastity.
Mhm.
Fuck the mindset saying
Yeah,
who
that don't make sense.
like these things also have cultural ties, but that's what we have to recognize. The people who get to survive the cultural ties and then also never change. It's not like any of these people like R. Kelly, it's not like R. Kelly ever, especially after the whole trial with the first girl and everything like that. It's not like beating that case made him recognize, hey, I need some fucking help. It's not like, and these are people who can afford the help. It's not like your local predator and everything like that, who should also at some point recognize, hey, I'm doing this fucked up. I need to get some help. But it's not like R. Kelly ever stopped and was like, or Dan Schneider ever stopped, allegedly, and ever stopped and was like, let me work on these things that are in my mind that I like to do and ruminate on so that these things that follow me don't manifest and continue and follow me for the rest of my life. But they don't because they're in an industry that protects them. They contribute something to society that makes people stand them and want to defend them so they don't lose access to their art and the things they love from them. And that's where we should hold ourselves accountable to be like, listen, as much as I love this, if he, like on some dry love shit, if he dies, he dies. If he goes down, he goes down. I don't need to prop up him. I don't need to prop up Bill Cosby. He contributed something to the community at one point in time, but also look at the other toxic shit
Mhm.
that also bled out into the things he was saying to us later, and realize that this person has pushed themselves beyond help.
Yeah.
Like we could like what that Blue Lights episode said. If you love R. Kelly that damn much, get him some goddamn help. But don't sit there and act like this man is innocent. And that's what it is. Like you can on one hand hope for rehabilitation and like common sense and like empathy. And especially if they had those, what would they be trying to do? If you were once something like that, what would you be trying to do if you truly changed, if you were truly ready to forgiveness? You'd be trying to make recompense. You'd be trying to heal the wounds you created. But these people who had a lot of wealth or had enough wealth at one point to try and do that, instead they use their wealth to continue to prey upon people and use their art to continue to prey upon people. So it's important to both, when we separate the art from the artist, they're not, even while we separate them, they're still not separate things because they still use their art to be a predator. So it's important that we can enjoy what we enjoy, but not enjoy mindlessly. Have like recognize the context in which everything exists
Yeah.
for to be able to hold them accountable and also hold ourselves accountable if we find ourselves defending people or things we should and in times we don't need to. Because we're not their lawyer, we're not their parents. We just happen to like something they create.
Well, I'm about to make a lot of people mad right now because, like, you named a lot of people where you had to separate the art from artists, but it's something that you can look up. You look this up. It's true. I'm not making it up. It's not a lie. Y'all need to stop looking at Fast and Furious because, or at least up until Paul Walker's part, because he was into little girls. He was into them little 16-year-olds. Yeah, he was dating. He dated a couple of 16-year-olds actually, and nobody bats an eye. And it makes me wonder sometimes though, like why? Because I've said this before, and people told me I was lying. You look it up. He dated a 16-year-old model. At 16 years old, you don't need to be dating a 28-year-old. At 16 years old, you don't need to be dating a 33-year-old. It's weird. And people swear Paul Walker is like this amazing man who just was so great. And I'm like, he took advantage of teenagers. Like the same thing y'all mad at Elvis for. The same thing you're mad at, Pookie down the street.
Okay, so apparently, so he was dating Jasmine when she was 16 and he was 33. They were living together at the time of his death. So he was 40 and then she was 23 when he died.
She's not now.
But certain countries, or not just certain countries, but even some states.
Understandable, but
it depends on the maturity.
You can't
if the parents
your age. You're like, let's be real.
Okay, so if you're a model, which you are,
let me tell you one thing.
You know more things than an average 6-year-old still.
It doesn't matter. You're still a 16-year-old. And he definitely took advantage of the fact that she was a 16-year-old. And there's even an article where like he was saying that he got out of some type of got out of some type of crime that was like felony-ish. Look it up. Like y'all gotta look it up because I can't exactly remember, but it dude was scummy. Like he just went to little 16-year-olds and that shit don't rock with me. Anyway, it doesn't rock with me. I don't care what the age limit is in a damn state. My 16-year-old daughter, I don't care if she's a model and has traveled all over the place. You will not be dating a 33-year-old. Point blank, period. He's too old. And what do you have in common with a 16-year-old? Let me know. Hi, kitty, kitty.
Oh, you see my kitties?
Yeah, little tuxedo cat. You didn't see the kitty. Oh,
This is Mittens. I just got her Thursday. That's my baby girl.
Come here.
You must have smelled her through the camera.
Look, she can sniff a damn cat. I don't know. But no,
I'm not saying what he did was right, but I'm saying
it's
certain
not.
places,
I understand that certain places
and it depends on the mentality.
Hey, Silencio, now, get away from the door. I'm sorry. Let me not do that on here.
So that's how I feel.
Well,
I just
so that they look at, I mean, in these industries that we were talking about, they look at age differently because of the different experiences that they're having, especially as either rich people or people trying to enter into it. They see themselves on a different plane. And that's the kind of thing, that's why certain European countries, the age differences, the late ages of consent are so different and everything like that. And it's a matter of,
not only that, but certain countries have like coming of age ceremony. Like you're now treated as an adult.
And they're banning those.
Because
a lot of that's also cultural.
Understandable. Well, they're banning child marriages. Like
that's because they're usually forced. That thing is that's wrong. You should not have to marry somebody. But what I'm saying is if it's consent between the two people and her parents, and she is at that mindset,
Well,
then
the thing with that too is also, especially when you factor wealth into it, it's a lot easier to get someone to consent to, like, same thing with RKelly. It's a lot easier for people to agree with their daughters living up in RKelly's house when it's a rich guy who can enter them into industry. Like, when you think about the concept of arranged marriages and what it looks like in today's day and age, especially not exactly a marriage, but arranged situations of, hey, increase like our family's like opportunity. And I mean, if we had to sacrifice a daughter to get it, like she's like you anyway. But it's a matter of like, yeah, we can tell people to use more discernment, but ultimately we just have to start reforming these industries because a lot of stuff, especially when you're playing in the game of modeling, like I love Leonardo DiCaprio. He's like my favorite actor. But I was just watching some video, I think by a guy named Sloan or whoever, who was outlining how he basically has a deal with a modeling agency where they funnel girls to him all the time, like over years, and he doesn't. He like leaves them by the time they're like 26. They don't hit 26 with him. It like 25 is cut off for him basically. Like that's when the relationship's gonna die. Like the current girl that he's with, he happened to know her because she's Al Pacino's stepdaughter, I believe, some kind of connection like that. And he knew her since she was like 10, 11. And you can argue, well, he obviously wasn't tracking her the whole time. He waited and all that. But that's another thing. Like these are things that have been normalized in the past. Like for example, people argue that Aretha Franklin's first child was possibly either her father's child allegedly or Sam Cooke's child that one of them fathers. So like there's a lot of things that like when you start digging into nitty gritty, you're like, oh wow, a lot of shit that everyone on the surface is like, oh, you should do this. When it comes to wealth, and when it comes to just like the hush hush, a lot of shit is like, oh, we should do this, but a lot of that's what's happening. And it's a matter of now that we're in this time period of bringing things to light and holding ourselves accountable, we can move better, and people who were moving dirty can step up and like make recompense for the type of shit that they used to do. And if that involves authorities or if that just involves just like speaking against that type of shit and be like, listen, because there should, especially now in the industry, you would think there'd be more transparency to not let that type of shit happen. But Dan Snyder, Mr. Allegedly Foot Kingdom, he's trying to work his way back into children programming still. Mr. Bill
Mm-mm.
technicality, his lawyer is now going to go work for RKelly to try and see how they can help them. And this same lawyer was also the lawyer for the leader of that cult Nexium, where basically like that's a whole other story. Yeah, it's something that again is not just men, but also something men we start to have to when we talk about separating art from artists, things that we love. Because one of my favorite other
Thank
favorite
you.
Kevin Spacey, and we see that man and all the things that's coming out about him and how all of his pieces start dying off before a trial can happen. And it's like we can't just secretly hand clap for the people we like and hope that they don't go down because we don't want to see their story end that way. You know, like it, like yes, like on yes, not just a narrative, it's real life, and you might have some kind of emotional connection to certain things, but you know, we're grown adults now. There's certain things we gotta just be like, listen, they had their chance to change. They had their chance, and then especially for the victims, like my roommate would my roommate would argue that SA or rape is even worse than like murder in the sense that like the victim has to live with that. So there's just more things that in society we gotta question that isn't like we'll say on a performative level we are trying to do better, but we just snatch a few people down as like, ooh, my phone. Sorry about that. Don't worry, my phone's all cracked. It's all right. It'll live. But yeah, we say often that we're holding ourselves more accountable, but yeah, we'll sacrifice some pieces like a Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby because or R. Kelly because they're at the end of their rope anyway, while all this other shit is going on, while we're arguing about who's the worst monster between uh, Donald Trump and Bill Clinton when they're both going to Epstein Island, and everyone's just looking the other way when someone like Epstein dies, and all the people that he had on tape, we don't hear about any of that shit.
Yeah, like I have to get that. But yeah.
Sorry about any of the food noises if y'all heard it.
No, you're
Oh,
fine.
I'm hungry.
And it wasn't good.
Okay. So for the last thing I have is there's two things. So it goes together. You guys don't have to answer it today. You can answer it next week. But it's mostly for the viewers. What are some of the best answers you received to questions you asked throughout your life? And the quote is, the only interesting answers are those that destroy the questions, by Susan Sontag. Did I say it too loud or too fast?
You're good.
So
I'll definitely answer that next week.
just take a week to think about it. Get back to us, put in the comics, let us know. That way we can tell y'all and talk about y'all.
Yay.
Not bad.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I got a discussion. Tell me, what are some of the best answers you received to questions you asked throughout your life?
All right. Well, all right, promotion time. All right. So, as you know, I wrote a book about my doggie. Her name is Rampet, but the book is called A Puppy's Journey, Rampet's World, and it is on sale right now on Amazon, and also has my blog, queenpedii.com. All the links will be in the description below. Anybody else?
I do. So I do beach body. I'm a beach body coach, actually. And this is one of my favorite things besides my Energizer. This is a Beachbody performance drink. It's plant-based. It helps with it speeds muscle recovery. It gives promote lean muscle synthesis. It combats muscle soreness. It's in chocolate. This one's plant-based because I can't do regular milk. But this is something that you take after you exercise. And it just, girl, I did the 6-4-5 program and it kills me every time. Every time. And I'm only in week 1. But by the time I'm on week 1 on that. And I get the next day I was so sore. I could barely get out of bed. And I had to use the bathroom. Girl, I was like, yes, it was so bad. I'm like, Tommy, can you just rub my body? Like, I will put a bikini on and just rub my body. Like, that was how my body was so sore. But I've been taking that and that's been actually helping me a lot.
Okay.
And the Energizer girl, you get 30 servings in it. And you also get like one of these cute little cups. So this one has that in there. And you just shake it up. I call it mom juice because it gives me enough energy for the whole day. Okay. If I don't take it, I notice that I get really tired because I have diabetes and it's not well maintained. So I get really sleepy, especially when it gets colder. I'm like, and I think everybody's like, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to do nothing. You just want to sleep in bed because it's nice and warm. So Energizer, you just put in some water, 8 to 12 ounces. I have the fruit punch. And you just shake it up and you drink it 30 minutes before your exercise. And it gives you enough energy to do your exercise. It gives you enough energy for the day. And because I'm one of those people that are like, I got enough energy. I don't need to take this. I crashed. I've been sleeping so much and I couldn't figure out why. And then I'm like, because I left my Energizer in the car and I was too lazy to go get it out. And like when I say I slept a lot, I mean like I'll go to bed I'm a bad bedtime sleeper.
It's doing it again, hon.
O'clock. Get my kids ready and everything.
Okay, there it is.
I wake up at about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Then I will get my kids on a bus. I will pass out by 9. And I'll wake up to like 12, 1 o'clock. That's almost my whole day. Then I will go eat, might go get the mail. Then I get back inside and I want to sleep again because I'm so exhausted and I don't know why. And then I'll wake up and I have a little bit of energy. I want to eat, I'll watch a TV show, and then I want to fall asleep again. And this is why I don't go to sleep till like 3 because of that issue. So drinking that actually helped me, try to stay awake longer. So I do go to bed earlier and it gives me that well rest that I need throughout the day. So
love it. I'm here for the beach body, honey. Here for it. Tryst?
So just comment below and I'll message y'all my website.
Yeah. Wait, do you have the link?
I don't have the link quite yet, but what I could do is I can message a person, send them a shopping cart that has like either what I use or we could message and figure out what they need. And then that's the easier way to do it right now.
Okay, so you don't want me to put the email in the
put the email. They could email me or they could message, okay?
Email
me a message. And once I do get the link, we'll do the link, but I'm not afraid. Y'all could email me. I don't bite. If I message you back, sorry, my grammar ain't good. English was not my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh language. So I am very sorry.
Oh, Lordy, have mercy. All right, Tryst. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm just working on National Novel Writing Month or NaNoWriMo. So by the end of the month, I want to put my story out there as a one shot. Get you guys
Nice.
donate if you like. And also on Monday, I have an angiogram, for my failing heart. So wish me good luck. Prayers. That's all I
You
need.
got it. I've been
Great.
praying. You got it.
I got you. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for watching us again. We will see you guys next Friday. So,
Bye, y'all.
This is not your normal discussion where we talk all about the hard topics uncensored. This is not your normal discussion. This is not your normal discussion.